Hey there, Justin with Effective Remote Work here today. We're taking a look at Obsidian and really the ultimate power of why backlinking, unlinked references, and this knowledge graph that you see here on the screen, and how those things can help you build better knowledge as you work through life and encountering information and trying to figure out and solve problems. Before we dive into that, I wanted to invite you to subscribe to our newsletter at Effective Remote. You can sign up at effectiveremotework.com/newsletter and gain updates every week on different resources that we're checking out, but also all the content that we're putting out and helpful resources that we're creating for you, such as these videos, as well as the podcasts and blog posts that we write as well. Most note-taking software still works in terms of physical filing systems. If you're familiar with Evernote or even Notion, there's still this sense of files, folders, and categories to organize them in many softwares where you can input notes. Some have gone another level to allow tagging. I think of Bear, which can group notes together fairly easily and seamlessly, and even further, like Bear, some allow you to link notes together like a wiki. But what these softwares tend to lack is an ability to see the big picture and connect information together and see the context of how that information was connected. That's really at the core of what we want to talk about today, is the power of building context so that you can see how information fits together and also make new connections. So you can see here on the screen, we have this knowledge graph. This is the graph inside of Obsidian that shows you all of the connections between the notes within your database or within the folder, the vault that you're using. If we look at it here, you can hover over one of these nodes and you can see all of the immediate connections that it have. We'll click into this note right now. If you can notice here, we're using a demo database called the IMF Advanced Starter Kit version 2 by Nick Milo. I'll put a link in the description to download this if you're interested in learning more about this method. I chose to use this as a demo database because it shows really well the power of linking notes together. So I mentioned wiki linking, and that's really where Obsidian starts, is the ability to easily wiki link things together. So if I wanted to wiki link this wellness note here, all I have to do is highlight it and then press the left angle bracket twice. That creates a wiki link to the word wellness. I'll click on that, and we don't have a note here yet. So I'm going to type in some information about wellness. Fairly simple and straightforward. It's something that I wanted to record. So if I go back, I can see that. And then if I link here in this line, wellness, it takes me to the same note. Now, if we see wellness, if we search for that in other places, you can see on this 020 body MOC, we see wellness is referenced, also contextual lenses, this note. And then intro to index categories. What I'm going to do is I'll go into this body MOC, and then I will wiki link this one. Okay, we'll click on that and see it takes us to the same note. That's pretty cool. You can link to the same note in different places. However, where the power of building context starts to shine is in the backlinks. Backlinks show you on a specific page where that page is linked to in different notes. So we linked wellness in the index in 2 different places, which shows up here, and in the body MOC note, and it shows up here as well. Super great, because then from the wellness note, I can jump back and forth. I can jump here, I can go back into wellness, I can go into the body MOC and jump back. I can get into the breathing exercises TOC, so on and so forth. It's really easy to go back and forth between different notes and see, oh, wellness is relevant in these different places. If we go back to wellness though, You see this in the sidebar. It says Unlinked Mentions. I covered this a little bit and showed that this feature was capable in my Obsidian First Look video, which I'll put a link in the description to. But what this does is you see on the left-hand side here, we've searched wellness. This does a search for wellness across all of your files here, and it allows you to link to those files. So if we create a new note and say we're going to explore sleep. We'll just put some boilerplate text in here and say, that this is a key component of wellness to sleep. Okay, so if we find our wellness file again and head here, and then we go to Unlinked Mentions, you can see that Explorations of Sleep shows up here because we talked about wellness. One cool thing that you can do is to press this link button, which automatically generates a wiki link in that file without having to go to it. So I can click here and I can see, hey, here's wellness linked here. So now what I've done is I've taken a brand new note that talks about the concept of wellness, and I've been able to put it in context of the topic of wellness inside of my entire database by just clicking a single button. And you can see here, as if I hover over, you get transclusion as to what that note contains. Really, the power of this is when you start harvesting data and adding it in here from books, movies, podcasts, videos that you're watching, thoughts that you're having, and you're going through and grooming these unlinked mentions and clicking links on the ones that make sense, because obviously it doesn't necessarily make sense to link something that's in the title. But if you have a paragraph that's written where it shows wellness or whatever topic that you're looking at that point in time, if you're linking them together, then what you're able to do is from that root note, you can see all the places where it makes sense. So in the case of Explorations of Sleep, I can see that in the context of this note, sleep is a key component of wellness. So if I link sleep here as a concept, see, nothing here. Same thing though. There's lots of unlinked references to sleep. So I can link that. I can link this one. I can link this one. And now we have a bunch of links to this sleep note out of the wellness note that show us context. So here on the graph view, we can see the number of connections that are made inside of this database. Only a small chunk of these were the ones that we created on wellness, but you can see that we have lots of different ways that these ideas in this database connect. Now, this is an unfamiliar database to me, but if you were building this yourself, you would have a concept and understanding of how these ideas were fit together in some way, shape, or form. What's interesting though, when you look at this, is you can see lots of different clusters. There's constellations that tend to form around different concepts. So speeches here, dimensions of reality, editing manual, essays, flow creation. But then also you have these little outliers here. And the big deal with these outliers is if they're not connected in, you can find a way to connect them in. That's really the power of the unlinked references. If you can go through and just groom your database periodically, if you're just browsing through like you would browse through Wikipedia, except it's a database that you've created yourself, you can begin to connect those ideas together using unlinked references. Or if you find them in this graph overview, you can say, okay, I'm going to highlight this word emotional, and then we've got this note emotional, and then I can link this to, let's go back to the wellness or note. I can link emotional. Now I have connected those into the graph. So when we go back to the graph view, it's going to look a little different. And we might not be able to find it because it's a broad web of things here. But that Stephen Pressfield note is now linked into the graph. Like I said, we probably won't be able to find it by just looking at it. But that's really the power of having this knowledge graph, these tools built into software like Obsidian, is that when you have a software like Evernote, or Notion, or Apple Notes, whatever it might be, these notes tend to live in an individual place. If you're going to record information on, say, a TV show that you're watching, you might just throw it in a note and it might get left in your system, never to really be surfaced again. However, when you have it in a system like Obsidian, where you can link the concepts between different notes, one, it makes those ideas more discoverable. Two, it helps you make better connections between ideas that you wrote down off of that video or podcast that you recorded notes on or TV show. And three, it allows you to see the broader, bigger picture context of the information that you're gathering. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be for everyone. If you just need to capture some information down, keep it. You're not going to reference back to it too many times, so be it. But if you're interested in building a robust personal knowledge management system, using Obsidian with its backlinks, wiki links, unlinked references, and this graph overview will give you better tools to more seamlessly and easily get thoughts and ideas and information into your system and keep them in context. So not only can you find them, but you can use them effectively at a later date and time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe on the channel. Again, sign up for our newsletter at effectiveremotework.com/newsletter. And I'd love, if you're interested in finding more about Obsidian or note-taking workflows, please leave your ideas and thoughts and questions that you have in the comments below. Thanks again for watching.